You know, we are in this era where this coronavirus issue is coming from China and coming from the Far East, and it's kind of slowly, but too rapidly at the same time, penetrating our culture, and a lot of people talking about it. I've got a book here that Tom Peters wrote and published. It's an incredible book. It's his Summa. Tom Peters, as you know, is one of the great business gurus of all time. He's still alive, thank goodness. But this is called Thriving on Chaos is the name of this book. Outstanding book, and of course here we are. I just mentioned the coronavirus situation. Interest rates have been lowered very deliberately as a way to offset the plunging of the stock market. There's uncertainty everywhere, right? That's why I had to bring this book. It is possible, this is my message for today, at least the first part of the segment, it is possible to thrive on chaos. Think about that. If everybody else, your competitor, by the way, is wondering what to do and which we do that, and they can't make decisions quickly, and they don't want to deploy resources, maybe they're cutting their budget and marketing or whatever, if they're doing all those things, and they may be, then you need to be the prescient and innovative operation that gets out in front, does all the opposite things that I just mentioned to you. Invest in marketing, grab market share, take advantage of company or values and stocks and so on that have plummeted in their overall value. Buy them up. Warren Buffett's doing it big time. You can do the same thing at a different scale. So keep this in mind. This is a time of opportunity. Don't be like everybody else and kind of shut down and say, well, we'll just hang in there and see if our customers buy the same products from us in the same way. And don't follow that road. Get aggressive and creative. We use the word creativity a lot in the first part of this show. I'm going to hold up this Fast Company magazine again. It's extremely important in this environment to be creative, to be assertive, and to get out there and make sure that you thrive. Now, one of the chapters in here that I have to point out is titled so beautifully, it's so appropriate for where we're at today. And by the way, this book is over 20 years old, okay, believe it or not. But the chapter in this particular book that I'm referring to is entitled Launch a Customer Revolution. I want you to just think about that for a second. What does it mean to launch a revolution? What would you be doing if you launched a customer revolution, next week? And last week you weren't doing anything at all like that. How would things be different in your operation? All right? I guarantee you your employees would be more excited, right? There would be ideas that are flowing, and you'd be doing things. And by the way, if those things don't work out, you fail fast in an environment like this. You try something, it seems like it could work out, didn't seem to work out. No big deal. Learn from it rapidly. Move right on to the next tactic and the next market segment or what have you. This is the essence, by the way, of innovation as it's defined today. You may have read Eric Ries's book called The Lean Startup. It's simply the same idea and of course Tom Peters has said it a long time ago, the people that launch more projects and do more stuff, they have the opportunity to learn more, they certainly fail more, but they also succeed more. They succeed more frequently and faster. So this would be the kind of the primal philosophy that I would suggest that you carry forward at this particular time in our economy, and all kind of inspired by this book and this notion of we can thrive in this era of uncertainty, unpredictability, and financial wavering, shall we say. All right, so that's my initial message for today in that regard. Now, this is an easy segue to make. How do you make decisions in this environment, right? How do you think about things? How do you cognate, shall we say, and kind of figure out what would be the appropriate thing to do at this point? Now, most of us have grown up with kind of a left brain engineering orientation. Well, here's a problem, here's the direct line to the solution, we just do that, and then everything's fine. We go on to the next bullet point, right? But the world that we're operating in today is a little more complex than that, as you might know. And so we oftentimes find ourselves into situations where we know the problems, right? But the solutions are not so obvious, and the problems overlap, right? The problems are related to each other. So it's really difficult to know which one do I do first, and what happens if I do this, will it affect this? Because many of the problems are systemic that we have in our companies today, And it's very difficult to figure out what to do first, how rapidly to move on this or that. Right? And then there's a whole nother category of problem that requires a whole different category of decision making, which is what I would call wicked problems. These are problems where you don't even understand where they came from. The problem is not obvious, it's not well defined, its source, its origin is a little bit unclear. And so you spend all your time, you can't even frame the problem coherently so that you can go ahead and try to solve the problem. So what do we do under these circumstances, these extremely complex things? Now I want to introduce to you a new research methodology. It's a technology, very important. You may have heard of these before in the past, but this is really kind of next level stuff. Now, if you get all of your executives in the room, or maybe a bunch of customers, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 customers in the room, and you equip them with a handheld piece of hardware, all right, think about that now, kind of get that in your head. Everybody's sitting there like this. And a facilitator like myself, or maybe my colleagues, say, now, on a scale of 1 to 10, here's a problem that we see. How solvable is it? On a scale of 1 to 10, is it absolutely 10, it's easily solvable? Or down there, 1, 2, 3, hardly solvable at all? Go ahead and press your handheld device, all right? It's a technology thing. And everybody in the room goes, okay, well, I think it's this, I think it's that, it's a 7, oh, it's not, it's a 3, that's very stiff, right? And right beside me, there's a large screen, and you see the answers aggregated graphically, right, on top of each other, very easy to understand. You see these visualizations. Now, this is very interesting because then people go, well, I can't believe that everybody's pushed 3, and I think it's easy, 7 or 8. So now we have some really creative discussions going on about what we just saw. Now the facilitator says, okay, now let's go to the next level. Here's a solution to the problem. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would it be to succeed, the specific tactic, whatever it is? So again, everybody, boom, 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 boom. Very, very interesting, right? You see the process. Now you let 10 people out of the room and you welcome 10 more people in. Maybe they're different, maybe they're investors or stakeholders or old customers. And you ask them exactly the same questions that you just got done asking the first group. Now, right, they're pushing the buttons, and again, it's aggregating up there graphically, chart-wise, very easy to see who's doing this and what that, and the bulges and so on, the decision curves, and who, and it's interesting because then the clarity with which you're going to make a decision and the degree of certainty that you're going to make a decision piles up, right? So we're really doing qualitative feedback. How do you feel about something? But we're transforming qualitative feedback into quantitative feedback, and we're finding all of it mapped out, graphed out. So you may do 2, 3, 4, 5 groups over time. May do it in one day, or may do it over the course of a month or 2. Doesn't really matter that much. But the bottom line is you get a look at aggregate data, and you get to ask very nuanced questions. Now, the name of this technology, it's just found its way into Nebraska recently, is data burst. Think about that now. D-A-T-A-B-U-R-S-T, data burst, because we have bursts of insight, bursts of not just knowledge, but wisdom, because now we have people in the room arguing with each other and making key points and discussing it. All right, let's judge. Let's go now. Bum, 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 right? And so you have this incredible report laid out in front of you. Data burst technology is the way to make tough decisions. Now, by the way, this also applies to the civic arena as well. Municipal officials trying to figure out what to do with that street or that neighborhood, or how much money to allocate to this or that project. All of those things, all of those sticky issues that have strategic value can be resolved in this process that I've probably done a poor job explaining, called data burst. Very interesting. Call me, Lynn Hinderacker at WowBiz Growth Dynamics. Call me and let me know what you think about the data burst technology. It's fairly reasonable. It does cost, of course, with all the people and all the hardware and so on, but it's incredibly precise and credible, right? So if you have to make a case, let's spend money here instead of there, you can utilize the data burst technology to kind of justify and deepen the certainty and the conviction that surrounds that strategic decision. All right, So we've talked a little bit about chaos, we've talked about thriving in chaos, we've talked about uncertainty, and now I'm giving you the answer, the research technology that kind of resolves the chaotic environment that we operate within. This is WowBiz Nebraska. You know that. You've never seen anything like this before. Thank you so much. I'm Lynn Hinderacker. We'll see you next time. It's an exciting show. I can't wait to talk to you. Send me an email, lynn@lynnhinderacker.com. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Thank you.